Hi, welcome back. This time we're going to look at something which I found recently, and I really like this way of working. It won't be just one video, it'll probably take about 3 or 4 videos to describe it all. But particularly if you're one of these artists who struggle and paint something and then wish that they could get rid of it, particularly with watercolour, which is very difficult to get rid of things you want to change. So, materials. We've got gesso, which is normally used for priming canvases for oil painting. This is just ordinary acrylic paint, doesn't matter what brand. This is water, and this is a mix of these two things, the gesso and the acrylic. There's no specific amount. One is more absorbent than the other, so by mixing them you're getting the best of both worlds, if you like. Right, bit of paper. This is good Arches smooth paper, but honestly you can use anything. This is a piece of board that I've used and done the same. So what you have to do to start with, before you even think about what you're painting, is mix these two together and then literally cover the paper with this mix. I'm not going to spend ages doing this because it'll bore you to death. Leave it to dry. It doesn't take long, maybe 15 minutes, no more than that. And then do it again. Maybe turn the paper the other way and go the other way along. Starting to fill in. And to start with, you don't have to do much in terms of detail. You just got to block in. It'll end up being quite pasty, but that's actually quite a nice texture to work on. And then you can build up slowly but surely, and all you need is a nice brush that you can work with, something with a reasonable point on it but can hold watercolour. And there's a few things you need to know. You need to be able to mix the watercolour paint, not loosely, not like wet on wet technique, lots of water, but very little water, so that it's almost tacky on your brush. If you put it on too wet and watery, what happens is it just floods around because it can't completely soak in. So little water on the brush. Generally, all you have to do is take some paint, the colour you want, not too watery. Like I give myself the shakes, because what it does is make you do some interesting marks. So maybe let's put a knot in here, just drag it in there. Again, there's no details as such, you're just making, I don't know, texture more than anything. Right, take it down to there. I'm looking forward to showing you how to take colour out, but I need to do that in a minute, not just now. Right, so you can see what I'm doing there. You can keep building. As long as you don't get the paint too watery, you can start putting in some dark shadows and shapes. This is like an old wood fence. Okay, so that's that. You could carry on with that. With the shoe here, obviously changing the colour a bit, but again, let's see if we can get that in the middle there a bit better. Right, so we're following the shapes of the shoe, you know, where it comes over the toe here, putting in these marks, putting in shadows. I'm just using a brown and put it in. Okay, so we put some shading in up there because that's inside the toe, so it's going to be dark. And then you go back in with a second and third here. That's dried now, so I can put in more shadows. Put a little bit of blue in there, just to, whoops, it's not blue particularly. Never mind. If it's too strong while it's wet, you can blot it and keep on working. Okay. Now, supposing I wanted a shoelace to run across this dark part here, or I wanted a whisker to go across here. Clean your brush, get some fresh water on it, not too much, you just flood it, and wet where you want a particular detail to be, right? So supposing I want a whisker there. Right, now I've gone over it 3 or 4 times just to loosen the paint. Get a bit of tissue, blot, and there you have your whisker, nice and clear. And then you can work on it. If it's too thick, you can work back into it, you know. Suppose you don't want it, you just can paint over it. And it will go. You see this bit here, don't really want that, say, so I'll just wet it, and while it's wet, blot it, and it's gone. So over here, if we wanted a shoelace that, say, came up and down and into the shoe, I think we're in the shop, just off we go, wet, wait a minute, blot. And then you can put the details in on the shoelace, okay, and work round it. You know, it's too thick, and you might want this darker in here, and so you go on. You just can keep on doing this, building, building, building. Too strong, blot. In here. When it dries, it will dry less vibrant, you know, the black won't be quite so black. When you look at the nose over here, it's kind of gone duller, so you know, you can then work back into it. Supposing I want a light source on the nose, hitting the nose, just somewhere there. Okay, here we go, wet. There you've got your light source, and you can work around that. I've got to obviously fill these nostrils in, but I think you get my meaning now. Down here on the wood, again, blot, and there you're nice and light. And this is how you work. You just keep building and building. Stop the video. I'm going to do a bit more, and then I'll come back at a later stage in this painting. Okay, now this is a little bit later on in the process, and as you can see, we're getting somewhere now. Don't be satisfied with just putting some paint down and leaving it. Go over the top again with more paint. Don't get it too wet, and you can keep building in more and more shadow and detail. Try and keep the textures, because that's part of the fun of the whole process.